All right. You know what time it is. Neil Ratner, Rock Doc here with a story. As most of you know, I spent time with the J Geils band back in the day. I actually was with them on their first European tour, and I got to know them pretty well, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But in honor of what would have been band leader J Geils' birthday today, I thought I'd tell you a few things about the band that you might not know. And as usual, a little background first. Yeah. Okay, so Jay grew up in New Jersey, where his father, a big jazz fan, worked as an engineer at Bell Labs. Now, from an early age, Giles heard his father's albums by people like Benny Goodman and Duke Ellington and Count Basie. And he even escorted his father to a Louis Armstrong concert. So Jay learned to play Miles Davis music first on the trumpet and drums. And he listened to blues singers Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters. So he had this combination of blues and jazz. And he started by playing jazz trumpet. But eventually he switched to blues guitar. I think it was the influence of Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, and the blues guys that he was hearing after he had heard all the jazz, and he decided trumpet wasn't the thing. He was going to play guitar. All right. And he formed an acoustic blues trio, which was called Snoopy and the Sopwith Camels. And he did it with future Giles band member bassist Danny Klein and harmonica player Richard Magic Dick Selwitz. And they were all studying mechanical engineering at Worcester Polytechnic Institute in the mid-'60s. So they met and they formed this acoustic trio. Okay. Now in '68, the band switched focus, going electric, and they recruited two fellow musicians from a Boston band called the Hallucinations. The two were drummer Stephen Bladd and vocalist Peter Blankenfeld, a fast-talking former WBCN disc jockey with the air name of course, Peter Wolf. All right, now, initial influences for the band included James Cotton, Little Walter, and they became the J Geils Blues Band, later dropping the word blues from the band name. Now, soon, one of their big fans, Seth Justman, joined on keyboards, and the band started to earn a sizable following in the Boston area. Okay, now, by 1970, my friend Mario Medius, the big Mario, just to remind you, started out in the accounting department of Atlantic Records, and then Atlantic got into rock and roll. Mario wanted to be a part of the rock and roll, and so he asked Ahmet if he could do promotion. Ahmet had no idea how to promote. Ahmet Ertegun, who was the president of Atlantic Records, Ahmet had no idea how to promote rock and roll, and Mario became the first promo man. And Mario became hip to Giles very early on, right? And he was a huge fan of the band. And so he wanted them to sign with Atlantic Records, right? And he took Ahmet to a show. Took Ahmet to a show, and apparently Ahmet says to Mario after the show, "What's the big deal? Another blues band." And Mario says, "No, man, you don't get it. This is a band that's going to do something. I'd stake my reputation on it. You got to sign them." And they went back and forth. Ahmet really didn't want to sign the band. But Mario basically said, "Hey, man, I'm telling you, and I want you to sign it, and do it for me if for nothing else." And Ahmet signed the band, and rock and roll, right? All right. Now, through constant touring, and constant touring because their manager was D. Anthony. I mean, that's how I met them. And D, I've told you about D in the past. D believed that the way to break a band is just constantly keep them on the road. And he did that with Humble Pie and Frampton. And he did it with Giles, too. And Giles had an unbelievable, energetic live show that was just the best. And Wolf, was unbelievable. He was just outrageous. And of course, harmonica playing of Magic Dick, and great band. So after the release of their first two albums and keeping a busy show schedule, it was their third album, Bloodshot, which was the first commercial breakthrough for the band. It reached number 10 on the Billboard charts in '73, and it spawned the single Give It To Me. And if you've seen that on YouTube, it's very cool. Check it out. Only went to number 30, but so what? Great band, and if you saw them live, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the group hit their commercial peak and achieved mainstream success in the early 80s. Centerfold, Freeze Frame. I'm not as hip to that material as I was to the material they were doing when I was with them in the 70s, but I was glad that they finally broke through, made a couple of bucks. Now, during '82, the band was frequently selling out arenas, and they did a month-long tour with U2 as their support act in '82. The band also undertook a 2-month tour of Europe with the Rolling Stones. And that was the same year. Now, after Wolf left the band in '83 to pursue a solo career, the J Geils band released one more album in '84 with Seth Justman on lead vocals, and they broke up in '85. Now, beginning in '99, the band had several reunions prior to the death of Jay in 2017. All right. As I said, I got to know them quite well. I took them with ELP. They backed ELP, and it was Geils' first European tour. We had a lot of fun going shopping and hanging out and, whatever. Great bunch of guys, but best of all was watching the European reaction to their music. The Europeans went nuts because they were just this great high-energy live band. All right. That's it. Come on. There we go. All right, that's my story for today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll have more as the week goes on. Have a great rest of the day, and as I always like to tell you, always remember to keep on rocking. Can I play this? All right. Bye for now.